Hey guys, welcome back. This Let Me Explain video is why I think Jurassic World is a masterpiece. Now that's just a bit of a headline just to get your attention. Masterpiece is a big word, I get it. But I'm here to explain why I think Jurassic World is a really good movie. Or specifically a really good Jurassic movie and where it fits within the franchise. And as you can see, I'm a big Jurassic fan. Jurassic Park, the first one, is my all-time favorite film. I love it to death. But that said, Jurassic World, to me, is a damn good movie, and I'm here to explain why. So Jurassic World gets a bit of a bad rap for being a rehash of Jurassic Park and for frankly not being as good as the first Jurassic Park movie, which frankly that's almost an impossible task to do anyways. But that doesn't mean it's still not a good movie on its own. And whilst, yes, I'll concede there are some bonkers plot points in this movie, one being the trained raptors and how they're used in the film, some of the general incompetencies of the people who work at Jurassic World. I swear, the Jurassic franchise is filled with the dumbest people ever. But even then, there's still a lot of things to love about this movie, and I'm going to explain why. Jurassic World for me was my most anticipated movie of all time and remains to this day the most I've ever anticipated of a movie. I was just beyond excited for this reboot slash sequel to the Jurassic Park franchise. I couldn't wait to see it. And so that obviously, with that said, my expectations were as high as any movie I've ever walked in to see in a theater. My expectations were through the roof. And I have to say, when I walked out of the cinema, my expectations were met. It sounds crazy. I mean, when I consider this my favorite movie of all time, and to say that one met my expectations says a lot. Now, does that mean I think it was as good as Jurassic Park? No, but I still think it met my very lofty expectations. And I'm going to cover a bunch of reasons why I think it achieved that. And I think there's a lot of things that many critics and fans have maybe overlooked about this movie that maybe add to its quality. And if I'm going to be honest, I'm probably reading into a lot of things that I'm going to cover that probably weren't even intended by the director, but I actually interpreted them this way myself, and I just assumed everyone else did until I realized later on that no, not really many people were picking up on some of the themes that I was seeing. And so I really want to touch on those things and hopefully convince you of some of them. When Jurassic World hit theaters in 2015, it was officially a successful reboot and sequel to the Jurassic Park franchise. It grossed over $1.6 billion worldwide. It broke the domestic box office opening record for that weekend at the time. So it was an unbelievable success. And even critically, both amongst fans and critics, it charted somewhere in the 70% range in both, which is above average by most people's scales. And what I think this movie did really well was it blended the old with the new. So really, from a very early point in the film, it welcomes us into the park, Jurassic World, and it gives us this sense of, we're back. This is familiar. I know what this is like. I know what I'm in for. It's great to be back. But at the same time, everything looks fresh and new. You've got the more gray and blue color schemes of Jurassic World as opposed to the more red, yellow, and black of Jurassic Park. So it's familiar, but also new. And I thought it towed that line perfectly, not just at the beginning of the film, but pretty much all the way throughout. And it was just a really great way to ingratiate us back into this franchise. So almost straight off the bat with this film, we get to see a functional park. And we all remember the first Jurassic Park where it's basically a demo of what the park will look like. So even though they get to see parts of it, it's not a fully functioning park in the first movie. Here we are now, this Jurassic World is up and running, and it has been running for a while. So much so that they're looking to explore new options of attractions because dinosaurs supposedly don't entertain the masses anymore. And so the film almost acts as like a what if scenario of Jurassic Park's. Like, what if Jurassic Park actually succeeded and got off the ground and was a functioning park? So that's a cool idea. I remember thinking back before this fourth movie came out of what potential ideas they could do, because I feel the Jurassic franchise is quite limited in that regard in terms of what they can do really with the story. And I feel like bringing us back in with a new and operational park was a great way to do that. One, from a narrative standpoint, and two, to bring the fans back into the franchise. It made us just feel at home again, seeing a functional park. And you know, with the two main kids in the movie, we get to really follow them around for like the first 45 minutes of the film, and we're like almost acting as guests with them. We're getting to explore different corners of the park, different dinosaurs, different attractions, and it's great. I think it really shows all the different aspects well, and it's like almost bringing our dreams to reality. It's like we all dreamed of Jurassic Park when we saw that first movie so long ago, and like what could have been with that park, and if we ever got to visit a park like that in real life, what it would feel like. In this movie, like it felt like we were at like a SeaWorld, Disney World type of place, and we've all been to those theme parks in real life, so we could relate to a lot of the design aspects of the attractions and the layout of the place and everything like that. It just really balanced that modern theme parks well with the concept of Jurassic Park. So there's the moment in every Jurassic movie when all goes to hell, where a big bad dinosaur escapes from its enclosure or something like that, and everything falls apart and people start to get killed and eaten, and it's just carnage. And obviously that happens in this film with the Indominus breakout from its enclosure. And so to me, obviously there's a lot of things that are playing out there very similar to the original Jurassic Park, but the Indominus Rex, as mentioned in the very first conversation in this movie, the Indominus Rex is a metaphor for consumerism. That much is conveyed by the director. I'm not reading into anything there. That is explicitly communicated by the characters in the film in that first scene with Claire. They're explaining that, you know, kids are not impressed by a Stegosaurus anymore. They need bigger, better, faster, stronger, everything like that. And so they want to genetically modify a hybrid to achieve that goal. So this dinosaur, the Indominus, is being bred for the sole purpose of consumerism. We need to impress, we need to make it bigger and better. That's the whole reason for its existence. It does not exist for a scientific purpose to bring back a creature from the past in its most purest form possible. No, it's just there to make money, and it is an abomination. You know, it even looks like an abomination because it's kind of got a wonky face and it has some aggressive traits and all these sorts of things. So it's very much just about showing us that this is now the bigger, better version of the T-Rex, and this is where we're at. And so the whole creation of the Indominus is like to kind of, it shows that this thing lacks a soul. Like it doesn't, there's no soul in this creature. We can't get behind this creature or really enjoy it because we just look at it as an abomination. It's kind of a cool thing to bring to this movie, because that's obviously bringing it back to the first Jurassic Park movie, which had a lot of themes of consumerism too, which I think were lacking somewhat in the follow-ups, which were The Lost World and Jurassic Park 3, which were more just kind of survival films. This one kind of brought us back to those core themes of Jurassic Park and the ethical conundrum that it presents, which is wanting to appreciate the magnificence of these creatures whilst at the same time having to appreciate the dangers that they pose. And it's brought it back, but it just in this hyperinflated way. And to me, that is a beautiful metaphor also for corporatism, because it really represents the thinking of a lot of big corporations these days, that the way everything needs to go is bigger, better, faster. Like that's the only way they think. They don't think laterally, they only think up. And how can something increase profits? Not how we can create a better world, not how we can efficiently do something. It's more just about how we can make the most money from something. And I think that's, people say about Jurassic World movies, like, oh, it's a really just lame kind of story decision to go with, but it's a real accurate one and relevant one to the real world, something that we see all around us with every big corporation that we come across. I think it's very relevant, and I think it's a pretty good representation of it, of what we deal with. The fourth main point I want to cover is the music. The music in this film is on point. Like I was saying earlier about the tone of this film towing the line between the old and the new, the music is all about that too. It really does give us some really nice, great new themes that we can enjoy, but it also constantly reminds us of those old iconic ones that we all love. And on top of that, there's a specific use to the music in this film that I think is very clever. They use the music, particularly the new Jurassic World theme music, to track the life of the park. So obviously at the beginning of the film, the park is thriving, everyone's enjoying it, having a good time. The music is very energized, it's very lively, it's positive, it's uplifting, it's all of that. And you get to really feel it being blasted. But as the movie goes on, as the situation becomes more dire, you start to hear the music become a bit more somber and more sad. The same theme, but just presented in a more somber and sad way. And I guess the perfect example of that is the dying Apatosaurus scene, when Chris Pratt's character and Bryce Dallas Howard's are there with the dying Apatosaurus, which has been killed by the Indominus Rex. And the music is really touching and soft to convey that very sad scene where it's dying. And that is a really nice track of where we're at in the film. We can see, okay, things are getting really bad here, and the music is a really nice touching point for that. And then it comes back with all its triumph, with the T-Rex emerging to fight the Indominus Rex in that final scene. You know, it's really blasted heavily in that moment. It's like the park is roaring back to life. And I love the way the director has used the music to chart that as like, okay, there's life here still, we can still win this. Everything's gonna be okay. So the fifth and final point that I want to cover about this film that hopefully convinces you of its greatness is the final battle between the Indominus Rex and the T-Rex. Now I know what you're thinking, although this scene divided a lot of people. A lot of people got enjoyment out of it, like myself, and others thought of it as, oh my god, just this dumb dinosaur battle to end the movie, how lame. Well, I think there's more to it to that, and I'm going to explain why. So let me set the scene in case you've forgotten. The Indominus is there attacking the four characters, and then the raptors come in. The raptors start attacking the Indominus Rex. Indominus wipes them out. Then the T-Rex gets unleashed to fight the Indominus. They go at it. Indominus comes out on top, and he's about to go for the final kill until the raptor that's still alive comes and saves him. Then the T-Rex and the Velociraptor team up to take on the Indominus. They push it to a corner, which then the Mosasaurus jumps from the water and gets the final kill. Pretty simple. It's a cool action scene. You know, if you remove everything else around it, the context, it's just a cool action scene on its own with very good graphics. But there's more meaning to it than that. And I'm certain I'm reading more into it than what the director was intending here, but that's not his fault, and it's not my fault either. I can't help that I read this, what I'm about to tell you now, and I hope it kind of gives a bit more nuance to the scene for you, makes you appreciate it a bit more. So sticking to that theme of consumerism we've been talking about a lot, here's where we are. The Indominus represents the new. The T-Rex and the Raptor represent the old, what we love, nostalgia and all of that. The Mosasaurus also represents the new, but in its pure intended form. Now, what is the significance of that? Well, as we've said, the Indominus is an abomination. It's everything wrong with corporatism and consumerism. Whilst the T-Rex and the Raptor, they're old, we're familiar with them, we love them, but they're not as engaging as the new stuff. You know, they're not as appealing anymore, but they are nostalgic. The Mosasaurus, however, gets the final kill, and it is both new and it is pure. So it's very symbolic of the fact that final battle is symbolic of the fact that something being new doesn't mean it is bad if it's done in a pure way. The Mosasaurus was created just to be a recreation, a clone of what it was from the past, just as a scientific achievement that they've managed to bring back this great beast. And so that's kind of symbolic for the audience to appreciate that it's okay for something to be new. We can enjoy new things, and we should enjoy new things, but we should also crave for new things to be delivered with the purest of intentions, to be good meaning and well intended, not just for monetary purposes. And so The Indominus obviously is an abomination. The T-Rex and the Raptor, we love them. They're nostalgic. They're cool. And we can keep loving them. It's okay to keep loving them. The T-Rex is my favorite. But it's okay also to move on to the new things. There's nothing wrong with the new. It's just as long as it's done the right way. So that's my kind of weird, sort of unique interpretation of that fight. And I could be completely off the mark. I could be missing the point completely. Maybe it was just a dumb fight. And it probably was. I think the director just wanted a cool fight scene between two big dinosaurs at the end to entertain the masses. And it did that. And entertained me, but I read more into it, and I think there's more there that we can take from that, whether it was intended or not. And when I combine all these factors, when I talk about the way they successfully showed us a new functioning park, when they, showed us the problems with consumerism, the music being great, this final battle, the metaphors in this final battle, I think all these things come together to show a pretty damn good movie. Masterpiece, yeah, I love it. I love it to death, but just to get your attention. You feel free to call it whatever you want. Yeah, so I hope that gave you some cool insights on what I think about this movie, and maybe gave you some new things, some food for thought, things that maybe you'd never considered before. And I'd love to hear your thoughts as well. Post them in the comment section below. Hit the like button, subscribe, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.